गंधर्व गिरिधारी शिष्य राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभागवत श्री गोरक्षदास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल कोरमंडल ब्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री माधवेंद्र पुरी पाद की जय। तृतीय शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि की जय। जय श्रीनिवासाचार्य की जय। तृतीय शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि की जय। जय श्री परमेश्वरी ठाकुर की जय। तृतीय शुभ तिरुभाव तिथि की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Oh, one second. Let me just make sure I am going live. Oh, and we're going to be reading from Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Goswami Maharaj. So, Jai Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. All right. Dandavat pranams, everybody. One second. Let me just make sure this mic is. Oh, the mic's not plugged in. All right. I think now. Haribol, Haribol. All right. Dandavat pranams. Well, actually, first let's do Mangalacharan. One second. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana-shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanaya Maya Varati Mingilo Daragatan Udritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodangshi Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudhanidhim Namo Bhakti Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyayai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vajashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, and I'm just saying that today is also, in addition to the appearance day of Mādhavendra Purī and Śrīnivāsācārya Prabhu and the disappearance day of Srila Parameśvarī Ṭhākura, it's also the manifestation day, the Prakatya Titi of Sri Radharamandev and Sri Vrindavan, Gopal Bhatta Gosvāmī. And also it is Krishna's Salila Vihar. It says the day of Krishna's water pastimes. So I guess Krishna would perform special water pastimes today. I don't know anything about that, but I see that in our Raise of the Harmonist WhatsApp group. And it's also the day of the boat festival, the Nauka Vihar of Sri Madan Mohan in Narendra Sarovar in Jagannath Puri. Jai, Jai, Jai. So many things today. Such a special day. So I thought I just arrived in Radhakund yesterday after a very long, kind of, interesting journey. I'm a bit like I'm a bit of an airhead right now. Like I'm a bit spaced out. Like kind of my Vata levels at 500% right now. So just bear with me. But I thought today we could read from this book. This is what we did last year. We read from the book Sri Caitanya and His Associates by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Goswami Maharaj about these three personalities. Today's reading is going to go overtime, just letting you know in advance. Because the sections are, maybe we can not read the full sections. We could just, I don't know. Let's see how it goes. And this is all being recorded on YouTube. So if anybody wants to watch this later on, you can always leave and not worry about missing anything. Dandavat pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Chattamayi Mataji, Gargarajji, Hare Krishna, and also, I don't know who else is there. If you write a comment, I'll see your name, but I'm guessing Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, Ganga Mataji, and Haribol. And all other devotees. Also, pranams to all the devotees watching in the future. Haribol. All right, so let's begin. Let me just open this up now. 1 second. Where is it? I had a bit of a difficult time getting set up. Oh, it's not letting me open up. Okay. So this book that we're reading from, Sri Caitanya and His Associates, is available on the Amazon Kindle bookstore. This is the Kindle book version that we're reading from now. I guess maybe we'll start with Śrīnivāsācārya. Yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. We'll start with Śrīnivāsācārya. We'll work our way up. Start with Śrīnivāsa. Or maybe we should do it the other way. Start with Mādhavendra Purī and then work our way down. Let's do it like that. Okay, so Mādhavendra Purī Pad. It'll be at the top. Okay. For 1 second, let me just get my mouse. So, Mahaprabhu, so Jai Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Okay. Sri Mādhavendra Purī. Mahaprabhu's seniors, including his parents and gurus, are all his servants and eternal associates. And they take their birth prior to his appearance in order to serve him in their own way. Whenever Krishna descends to the earth, he first sends down his elders. These include his father, mother, guru, and all the other persons he considers to be the objects of his respect. He arranges that these persons should take birth before he does. Mādhavendra Purī, Ishwar Purī, Shachi, Jagannath Mishra, and Advaita Acharya are amongst those who appeared in this way. That's from Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 3, verses 92 and 94. Hari Bol Sarveshwari Mataji. Later in the Caitanya Charitamrita, in chapter 13 of the Adi Lila, the same thing is described in the following way. Whenever the son of the king of Raj decides to appear on earth in order to fulfill a particular desire, then he first sends down his seniors. I will briefly name some of them, as it is not possible to mention everyone. Shachi Devi, Jagannath Mishra, Madhava Puri, Keshav Bharati, Ishwar Puri, Advaita Acharya, Srinivas Pandit, Acharya Ratna, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and Haridas Thakur. The disciplic succession. Srila Mādhavendra Purī appeared in the 14th century. He was a guru of the Brahma or Madhva Sampradaya, one of the 4 Vaishnava lineages that purify the world in the age of Kali. What are those 4 lineages? The Brahma Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Sanak, Chatushan Sampradaya. The Madhva lineage has been described in books like Gaur Ganodashtipika, Parameśvarī Ratnavali, and the writings of Gopal Guru Gosvāmī. The mention of this lineage is also to be found in the Bhakti Ratnakar, 5th Taranga. The following is taken from the Gaur Ganodashtipika, and I'm not going to read that verse because it's very long. But Brahma, the master of this universe, was a disciple of the Lord of the spiritual world. His disciple was Narad, and Vyas became the disciple of Narad. Shuka became the disciple of Vyas through the endowment of spiritual knowledge. Madhvacharya took initiation in the Krishna mantra from Vyas. His disciple was Paramanabhacharya, whose disciple was Narahari, who was followed by Madhavadvija. Akshobhya was his disciple. Then Jayatirtha, Jnana Sindhu, Mahanidhi, Vidyanidhi, and Rajendra followed. Jayadharma Muni was one of Rajendra's many disciples, and Vishnupuri, the author of Bhakti Ratnavali, and Purushottam, the lover of Brahman culture, became his disciples. Vyasatirtha, the author of the Vishnu Samhita, was a disciple of Purushottam. Lakshmipati Tirtha, a reservoir of devotion, was a disciple of Vyastirtha. Mādhavendra Purī was a disciple of Lakshmipati, and it is by him that this religion was founded. His disciple Ishwar Purī, took up the mood of conjugal devotion, while Advaita Acharya, also the disciple of Mādhavendra Purī, took up the moods of servitude and friendship. Gaur accepted Ishwar Puri as his guru and then flooded the material and spiritual worlds with love. Hari Bol, Pradyumna Prabhu, and Mantramurti Mataji. Hari Krishna. Thus, Mādhavendra Purī was a disciple of Lakshmi Pati Tīrtha. Mādhavendra Puri's disciples included Ishwar Puri, Advaita Acharya, Paramananda Puri, a Brahmin from the Tirhut area, Brahmananda Puri, Sri Rangapuri, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Raghupati Upadhyaya, and others. Nityananda Prabhu is said by some to be Mādhavendra Puri's disciple. Others say that Lakshmi Pati was his guru, while in the Prem Vilas it is said that he was Ishwar Puri's disciple. If I remember correctly, when we were reading the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Śrīla Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada indicated that it was Lakshmi Pati Tīrtha that was his guru, which I thought was pretty wild. It's like Mahaprabhu's Parameshti Guru. Parat Guru. Yeah, anyhow. Okay. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Mādhavendra Purī was a well-known sannyasi of the Madhva Sampradaya. His grand disciple is Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Prior to Mādhavendra Puri's appearance, there was no evidence of Prem Bhakti in the Madhva line. In his verse, Ai Dina Dayadranath, quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita 2.4, Madhya Lila 4.197, the seed of the religious doctrines of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can be found. To this, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada adds, Mādhavendra Purī was the first shoot of the desire tree of divine love, which came out of the Madhva lineage. Prior to his appearance, there was no sign of the conjugal mood of devotion in the Madhva line. Mādhavendra and Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu met Mādhavendra Purī while wandering through the pilgrimage sites in Western India. As soon as they saw each other, they were overcome with the symptoms of ecstatic love. This event is described in the 9th chapter of the Adi Kanda, Chaitanya Bhagavat. As Nityananda Prabhu was wandering through southern India, in this way, he suddenly encountered Mādhavendra Purī. Mādhavendra Purī was the embodiment of love, as were all his associates. He consumed nothing other than Krishna Ras, and Krishna dwelt in his body. How can I sufficiently glorify him whose disciple was Advaita Acharya? When Nityananda Prabhu saw Mādhavendra Purī, he fainted and became motionless with love. As soon as Madhav Puri saw Nityananda Prabhu, he too completely forgot himself and lost consciousness. No wonder Gauranga repeatedly said that Mādhavendra Purī was the harbinger of the ecstatic mood of devotion. And what does harbinger mean? It's a person or thing that announces or signals the approach of another, a forerunner of something. Okay, cool. New word. So then now here's a quote from, where is it from? This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, from Adi Kanda, chapter 9, verses 154 to 169. It says, Nityananda Prabhu said, I have visited many holy sites, but today I have been fulfilled by the sight of Mādhavendra Purī. I have finally achieved the true reward of visiting the holy places. I have never seen the symptoms of such divine love anywhere else. Mādhavendra loses consciousness simply upon seeing a cloud in the sky. Mādhavendra Purī embraced Nityananda Prabhu and wet him with his tears. He began to describe Nityananda Prabhu's glories and became completely absorbed in this description. He took Nityananda Prabhu to his chest. His throat was so choked with tears that he could not speak. He felt such deep affection for Nityananda Prabhu that he would not let him go. He finally spoke, saying,
I know that Lord Krishna is merciful to me, for he has given me a companion like Nityananda Prabhu. Anyone who feels even the slightest enmity for Nityananda Prabhu can never be dear to Krishna, no matter how much of a devotee he appears to be. The Bhakti Ratnakar also describes the glories of Mādhavendra Purī and states that Nityananda Prabhu treated him as a guru. So this is from Bhakti Ratnakar, 5th Taranga. Mādhavendra Purī is the embodiment of ecstatic loving devotion. Simply by remembering his name, all perfections are achieved. Ishwar Puri, Ranga Puri, and so many of his other disciples were intoxicated with loving devotion in the way he was. Mādhavendra Purī had many disciples throughout Bengal and Orissa, all of whom were devotees and fixed in Prem Bhakti. And now this is also from the 5th Taranga of Bhakti Ratnakar. A few days later, in a holy place on west coast of India, Nityananda Prabhu met Mādhavendra Purī. Who can describe the manifestations of love that arose upon their meeting? Only those who were there can know. Mādhavendra Purī treated Nityananda Prabhu as a friend and equal, but Nitai treated him like a superior. Mādhavendra Purī said, I know that Krishna has been merciful toward me, for he has given me a companion like Nityananda Prabhu. On the other hand, Nityananda Prabhu never treated him as anything but a guru. Now we come to this section from Caitanya Charitamrita describing Giridhari Gopal. This is one of my favorite chapters in Caitanya Charitamrita. Okay, so, well, I mean, he's going to be quoting from Caitanya Charitamrita, I think. That's where this pastime is described, at least. Okay. After taking sannyas in Katwa, Mahaprabhu went to Shantipur and spent some time at Advaita Acharya's house. Then he proceeded from there to Sri Purushottam to Puri, following the path through Chhatrabhog along the banks of the Ganga. He traveled through Atisara, Panihati, and Varahanagar until finally he arrived at the border of the kingdom of Utkal, Orissa, at the place called Vriddha Mantreshwar. Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda Datta, Jagadananda Pandit, and Damodar Pandit were his companions on this journey. They came to the town of Remuna in the district of Baleshwar, where they visited the deity Kirchora Gopinath. Afterward, Mahaprabhu recounted to his companions the story of Mādhavendra Purī as he had heard it from his guru, Ishwar Puri, at the same time telling how Kirchora Gopinath had earned his name. Now Mahaprabhu is telling. One day, Mādhavendra Purī was circumambulating Govardhan in a state of total intoxication and absorption in love for Krishna. When he arrived at Govindakund, he took his bath and sat down beneath a nearby tree to perform his evening Sandhya meditation and rituals. While he was so doing, a young cowherd boy carrying a pot of milk approached him and said with a smile, "What have you been thinking? What have you been thinking? Why don't you ask for something to eat? I have brought you some milk. Drink it." When Mādhavendra Purī saw the beautiful lad, he was so amazed that he completely forgot his hunger and thirst. Instead, he asked him, "Who are you? Where do you live? How did you know that I had not eaten?" The cowherd boy answered, "I am a cowherd, and I live in this village. In our village, no one ever goes hungry. Some people beg for food, but if someone doesn't ask, then I bring him something to eat. The women folk came here to fetch water and saw that you had not eaten. They sent me here with this milk for you. But it is nearly milking time and I'll have to leave. I'll come back later to fetch the pot." Mādhavendra Purī was astonished to see the boy walk away and disappear. He drank the milk and then washed the pot and put it aside, waiting for the cowherd boy to return. He sat under the tree chanting the holy names until the end of the night, when he started to doze. While asleep, he had a dream in which the cowherd boy came to him and led him by the hands to a wooded bower. The boy said, "I live here in this bower, but I'm very uncomfortable due to the summer heat, the rains, and the winter cold. Go and tell the village folk to help you uncover me and take me to the top of the hill and build a shelter for me. Then bathe me with cool, clear water. I have been waiting for you for a long time, wondering when you would come to serve me. I was waiting for your loving service so that I could show myself and thereby save the entire universe. My name is Gopal, the lifter of Govardhan. Krishna's great-grandson Aniruddha-san Vajra established my service so many years ago, but the Pujari in charge of my service hid me here when he fled out of fear of the Muslims. Since then, I have been here. It is good that you have finally come here. Now please dig me up." When Mādhavendra Purī awoke, he began to cry from his intense feelings of love, thinking, "Alas! Krishna himself came to me in the form of a cowherd boy, and I was unable to recognize him." However, after a few moments, he brought himself under control in order to carry out Gopal's orders. He took his morning bath and then gathered the village folk together and said, "Gopal, the lifter of Govardhan is the deity of this village, but he is buried in this bower. Go and bring axes and shovels. We have to dig him up and release him." The village people enthusiastically started to clear the bower and soon discovered a large deity who was covered in earth and weeds. The strongest of the local people lifted the deity up and carried him to the top of the hill, where they placed him on a large rock throne. In order to carry out the grand Abhishek ceremony, the local Brahmins had water. They had water from Govinda Kund filtered and carried to the site in 100 new jugs. One second, just okay. When word got out of the discovery of the deity, and it was announced that his puja and abhishek would soon be held, a joyful noise arose in all directions. Musicians played on their instruments, and the people danced and sang. The mountain was covered with all kinds of offerings, including ghee, milk, yogurt, and sandesh, all gifts from the local people. Mādhavendra Purī himself performs the Abhishek bathing ceremony. First of all, he cleans the accumulated dirt from the body of the deity according to the regulations. And there's a note here. It says, the scriptures say that barley and wheat flour, a powder made from, I don't know how you say that, Simplocos racemosa or racemosa, as well as the powder of pistachio nuts, saffron, and pulses, are to be used to clean the deity's body. A brush made from long ushira grasses and the hair of a cow's tail can also be used. Wow, that's a nice powder of pistachio nuts, saffron, and pulses. And barley. Yeah, very interesting, huh? Okay, so afterwards, Gopal's body was made shiny with oil. And then he was bathed again, first in Panchagavya. We know that's milk, yogurt, clarified butter, cow's urine, and cow dung. And then in Panchamrita, again, milk, yogurt, clarified butter. And then instead of urine and cow dung, honey and sugar. This procedure is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa's 6th chapter, where it is said, I'm going to skip the Sanskrit. It says, first bathe the deity with milk poured from a conch shell, then with yogurt, clarified butter, honey, and finally sugar, each one separately. So that's Hari Bhakti Vilas 630. After this, Gopal was bathed with 100 jugs of water. This was the great bathing ceremony, the Mahasnan, in which ghee and water are used in equal parts, and a total of 100 seers. That's a seer is approximately a liter, so almost 100 liters of water are needed. After bathing the deity in this way and then oiling him once again, Mādhavendra Purī bathed him in water scented with sandalwood and perfumes poured from a conch. The Hari Bhakti Vilas prescribes 100 palas of water for the bath, another 25 of oil for the body, and then 2,000 palas for the Mahasnan. What's a pala? A pala is a smaller measure of weight about equal to 1.5 ounces or 45 grams. So 25 palas of oil or ghee is thus about a liter. And 2,000 palas of water is about 80 liters. Okay, they bathed them with 80 liters of water. And a liter of oil. Ah, my screen's about to fall out. Okay. It's not letting me go back. There. After the Mahasnan, or great bath, after that was completed, the entire body of the deity was dried with a cloth, and he was dressed in a clean cloth and decorated with sandalwood, tulsi, and flower garlands. Just as Krishna instructed the cowherds at the end of the Dwapara Yuga to worship Govardhan with a mountain of foodstuffs, so in the Kali Yuga, Mādhavendra Purī ordered a mountain of food to be prepared for Giridhari Gopal. 10 Brahmins were engaged in preparing the rice, another 5 in cooking vegetable preparations. Another 5 or 6 Brahmins prepared various types of bread, which was all brought together in one place to be heaped up in the shape of a mountain. A pile of rice was surrounded by many clay pots filled with soups, cooked vegetable preparations, milk, yogurt, whey, shikarini, drink made of yogurt, milk, sugar, camphor, and pepper, rice pudding, butter, cream, etc. When the mountain of food was ready, Mādhavendra Purī made the offering along with many jugs filled with water. Gopal, who had not eaten for such a long time, hungrily ate everything he was offered. Even so, by his merciful touch, all the pots were again filled. Only Mādhavendra Purī saw how the Lord did this. Afterwards, Mādhavendra Purī offered the deity a mouthwash and then betel leaf. When he performs the arati ceremony, after which he brought a new bed for Gopal to rest. Then he performed the arati ceremony, after which he brought a new bed for Gopal to rest upon. When Gopal was finally taking rest, Mādhavendra Purī fed the prasad of the Annakut festival, first to all the Brahmins, then to all the men, women, and children, and then to all the men, women, and children of the village. First he fed the Brahmins, and then all the men, women, and children of the village. Sorry, guys, I'm having a hard time reading. Okay, word spread to all the villages of the area that Gopal had made his appearance, and people from each village took turns having their own feast on different days in his honor. I love that. Then this is from Caitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 4, 95. It says, the people of Braj are naturally affectionate toward Krishna, and Krishna too is affectionate to them. So each village got their turn to have an Annakut in the following days. In time, the rich Kshatriyas had a temple built for Gopal and gave him 10,000 cows. Mādhavendra Purī remains there for 2 years in Gopal's service, until one day he again had a dream in which Gopal told him that he still suffered from the heat, and it was only by smearing Malayaja sandalwood that he could be freed of the problem. And what's Malayaja is sandalwood from the Malaya Mountains, the part of the Western Ghats lying south of Mysore and east of Travancore, the region of Malabar. Wow, that's a long distance away. So Mādhavendra Purī was overjoyed to receive the Lord's direct order, and after engaging a qualified person to serve him, he started off on a journey to the east to find Malayaja sandalwood. Malaya refers to the Malabar coast in Kerala, at the very south of India, in what is known as the Western Ghats. This area is also known as Nilgiri, or Malaya Parvat. Sandalwood is so closely associated with this area that the word Malayaja, born of Malaya, is a synonym for the perfumed wood. Okay, cool. The story of Kir Chora Gopinath. While on his way to the south, Mādhavendra Purī stopped at Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur and initiated him. From there he went on until he arrived at Remuna. Seeing the beautiful deity of Gopinath in Remuna, Mādhavendra Purī was overwhelmed with love and started singing his names and danced for some time in ecstasy. Being extremely satisfied with the exquisite offerings to Gopinath, he asked one of Gopinath's Brahmin servants what foods were offered to the deity. The Brahmin answered, "In the evening, we give Gopinath 12 bowls of Amrita Keli, a thickened milk preparation that is like the nectar of the gods. This kheer is famous everywhere as Gopinath's kheer, and no offering anywhere in the world is its equal." Yeah, and that kheer is something very special if you ever go to Remuna. Okay, so that was from Chaitanya Charitamrita 2.4.119. As the Brahmin spoke, other servants of Gopinath started to make the Amrita Keli offering to the deity. Mādhavendra Purī thought that if he could just get a taste of this preparation unsolicited, he would be able to one day make it himself and offer this kheer to his own Gopal. However, this very thought of eating the kheer shamed him. After watching the arati ceremony, Mādhavendra Purī went outside and sat in the empty marketplace chanting the holy names. Mādhavendra Purī followed ayachak vritti, which means that he would never ask for food from anyone and only accepted the food that was spontaneously offered to him. He was able to do this because he never felt hunger or thirst, as he was constantly engaged in drinking the nectar of prem, and that kept him satisfied. In the meantime, the pujari had finished his duties and was taking rest when he had a vision of the deity in the dream. The deity told him, "Get up, open the door. I have put a bowl of kheer aside for the sannyasi. It is hidden behind the pleats of my dhoti. You did not see me hide the bowl there because of my maya. The sannyasi, whose name is Mādhava Purī, is sitting in the marketplace. Quickly take this kheer to him." So that is from Madhya Lila chapter 4, verses 127 to 129. The pujari was startled by the dream and immediately got up. He bathed, opened the door to the altar, and found a bowl of the kheer behind the deity's cloth, just as he had been told. He took the bowl and went to find Mādhavendra Purī. He wandered through the markets, shouting, "I have kheer here for Mādhav Purī. Gopinath has stolen it for you. Take it and eat it with joy, for there is no person as fortunate as you in the three worlds." That's same chapter, verse 133. When Mādhavendra Purī heard the pujari shouting in this way, he approached him and identified himself. The pujari gave him the kheer and then fell at his feet. He recounted the whole story to Mādhavendra Purī, sending him into paroxysms of divine love for Lord Krishna. And a paroxysm is a sudden attack or outburst of a particular emotion or activity. A paroxysm of weeping. Cool word. Haribol, the power went out. So now I just moved over to my hotspot. Hopefully the power comes back again soon. This is a different setup here. All right, let me share the screen. Hopefully this Wi-Fi is like my mobile data is fast enough here. I'm just going to do a speed test just to make sure. Okay. Okay, seems to be fast enough. 1 second. Okay. So, I don't know where it got cut off. Um, so the Pujari recounted the whole story to Madhavendra Puri, sending him into paroxysms of divine love for Lord Krishna. He respectfully ate the prasad and then, after washing the clay bowl, broke it into many small pieces and wrapped them up in his outer garment. Each day thereafter, he would eat a piece of the clay bowl and once again feel the same ecstatic love. Knowing that word of this miracle would spread by morning, Madhavendra Puri became fearful of the celebrity that would inevitably befall him, and the crowd of people that would then surround him. So he paid his obeisance to Gopinath from that very place and left for Puri before dawn. Mādhavendra Puri Bhava Gare Churi. That's the verse from Tushtamantumiki Sarvaishnava by Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada. Actually, it'd be nice to read that. I'm just going to continue on because we have a lot to get through. When Mādhavendra Puri arrived at Jagannath Puri, he visited Lord Jagannath and became ecstatic with love at seeing him. News of the miracle at Remuna had reached Puri even before he had, and countless people came to see him and pay him their respects. And this is from Caitanya Charitamrita, same chapter, verse 146. It says, "The nature of fame in this world is well known. Even if one does not seek it, it comes anyway as a result of one's destiny." Though Mādhavendra Puri was afraid of being distracted by celebrity and ran away from it, when one has love for God, then celebrity comes flowing to him without being sought. Even though Mādhavendra Puri wanted to flee from there because people were honoring him as a great devotee, he was unable to do so because he was committed to finding the sandalwood he had promised to bring Gopal. He went to the servants and directors of Lord Jagannath Temple and explained his mission. Those who had contacts with the king interceded and collected both sandalwood and camphor on Mādhavendra Puri's behalf. They then arranged for another Brahmin and a servant to travel with him and to help him carry the load. The king also gave him an official exemption paper to help him avoid customs duties. On his return route, Mādhavendra Puri stopped in Remuna again. Once again, he danced and sang kirtan before Gopinath in a state of loving absorption and accepted the Kir Prasad from the Pujari. That night, he slept in the temple. Once again, he had a vision of Gopal, who spoke to him as follows. Gopal said, "Listen, Madhav, I have already received all the sandalwood and camphor. Now grind it into a paste and smear it on Gopinath's body. Gopinath and I are one and the same person. If you give him the sandalwood, I will feel the cooling effect. Don't hesitate. Don't doubt this message at all. Just believe me and give Gopinath the sandalwood on my order." Power is back. Wonderful. Okay, I'll switch over to Wi-Fi in a little bit. After having this dream, Mādhavendra Puri summoned the servants of Gopinath to let them know what Gopal had told them. The pujaris were very happy to hear that Gopinath would be getting sandalwood paste, as it was the middle of summer. Mādhavendra Puri had his two companions, as well as two other persons from the temple, daily grind the sandalwood into a paste. He stayed in Remuna until it had been used up in Gopinath's service. At the end of the summer season, with the coming of the rains, Mādhavendra Puri returned to Puri, where he observed Chaturmasya and demonstrated the exemplary character of his love for Krishna. Okay, I'm going to switch to the Wi-Fi again. 1 second. Oh, it hasn't come up yet. All right. Gopal gave Mādhavendra Purī the order to bring sandalwood paste to show the world the depths of his love. This is from Caitanya Charitamrita, same chapter, verse 187 to 189. It was a great effort for Mādhavendra Purī to bring the sandalwood as far as Remuna, but he experienced it as a joy, not a difficulty. Gopal gave Mādhavendra Purī this commission in order to test him, but when he passed the test, he was merciful to his devotee. It's now 7:49. I think I'm going to stop here. Yeah, because we want to read about Śrīnivāsācārya and Parameśvarī Ṭhākura. So, Jai Shri Mādhavendra Purī Pada Ki Jai. Okay, so Shri Parameśvarī Ṭhākura. Namnarjuna Saka Pragyo Dasa. Actually, whatever. I was thinking maybe we should read it, the end section about Mādhavendra Purī, but I'm going to just, yeah. Okay, so this is from Gaur Ganadash Tipika, verse 132. Namnarjuna Saka Pragyo Dasa Parameshvara. Parameshwar Das Thakur was previously Arjuna, one of Krishna's 12 cowherd boyfriends. Let's see if the Wi-Fi is available yet. For some reason, it's not coming up. That's so strange. Okay. Srila Parameśvarī Ṭhākura appeared in a Vaidya family. He made his home in Antapur, a village which was previously known as Vishkali. His Shripat is close to the Antapur station on the Champadanga branch of the Howrah-Amta rail line, and near the old Radha Govinda temple established by Krishna Ram Mitra, the late Diwan, chief minister of Burdwan's king, Tej Bahadur. After the Lord took sannyas in Katwa, he headed for Vrindavan in a state of divine intoxication, before being diverted to Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur by Nityananda Prabhu. Shachi Mata and the other devotees from Navadvip all came, they all came from Navadvip. Sachi Mata and the other devotees from Navadvip all came to see the Lord there. At his mother's request, Mahaprabhu agreed to stay in Puri and took the path through Chhatrabhog to Nilachal in the company of Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda, Jagadananda Pandit, and Damodar Pandit. The first time that the Lord wished to go to Vrindavan from Nilachal, he came through Bengal. Though he was eventually unsuccessful, he passed through Panihatti, Kumarhatta, Kulia, Ramkeli, Kanar Natchala, Shantipur, and Shantipur before returning to Puri. When Nrsingananda Brahmachari heard that Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan, he meditated on the Lord's route, imagining a road of jewels as far as Kanar Natshala, when he realized that this was as far as the Lord would go, and that he would not make it to Vrindavan this time. Thousands of people were accompanying the Lord at this time. When he arrived at Kanar Natshala, he remembered Sanatana Goswami's advice. Sanatana Goswami told him, this is in Madhya Lila, chapter 1, verse 224. Sanatana Goswami said, "To go on pilgrimage with such a large company of devotees is not recommended." On his way back to Nilachal, Mahaprabhu stopped at Advaita's house in Shantipur. This time he was accompanied by Ballabha Bhattacharya and Damodar Pandit. When the Lord returned from Gaya, he also went as far as Kanar Natshala, where he had a vision of Muralidhar Shri Krishna, who embraced him as before he disappeared. That's Chaitanya Bhagavat 2.2, Madhya Khanda, chapter 2. Once he returns to Nilachal, Mahaprabhu told Nityananda Prabhu to go with Nityananda's own associates to Bengal to deliver the low-born, foolish and fallen people. Amongst his associates at that time were Sri Ramdas, Gadadhar Das, Raghunath Vaidya, Krishnadas Pandit, Parameśvarī Das, and Purandar Pandit. While traveling with Nityananda Prabhu, these devotees displayed various ecstatic moods. These are described in the Caitanya Bhagavat. Krishnadas Pandit, Parameśvarī Das, and Purandar Pandit were all enthusiastic to join Nityananda Prabhu. So all of his personal associates accompanied him on this journey back to Bengal. Before starting off, Nityananda Prabhu first empowered them by saturating them with Krishna Prem. They all completely forgot their external identities. There is no end to the variety of ecstatic moods that manifested in each one of their bodies. That's from, so these are, all these quotes now are from Caitanya Bhagavat Antya Khanda chapter 5. This is such a fun chapter in Caitanya Bhagavat. So Parameśvarī Das and Krishnadas both shouted, "Hoi, hoi!" in a spirit of cowherd voice. That's from Parameśvarī Das was one of the most important of Nityananda Prabhu's companions. He appeared specifically to enrich his pastimes. Nityananda Prabhu considered him to be his very own life. This too is stated in the Caitanya Bhagavat. So this is from that same chapter, now verse 732. Parameśvarī Das is Nityananda Prabhu's life. Nityananda Prabhu used his body as an extension of his own. It is also stated in the Caitanya Bhagavat that Mahaprabhu manifested himself in the Gauranga deity Parameśvarī Das worshipped in Antapur. Purandar Pandit and Parameśvarī Das both saw the manifestation of Gaurachandra in the deity. As soon as they saw him, they ran towards him and fell down, crying in the ecstasy of love. That was from Caitanya, same chapter of Caitanya Bhagavat. Okay. God, I hope my phone battery doesn't run out. Anyhow, okay. It is said in the Bhakti Ratnakara that Parameśvarī Das was in the entourage of Nityananda Prabhu Shakti Janava Mata when she went to the Keturi festival. So this is from the 10th Taranga of Bhakti Ratnakara. It says, Janava Ishwari happily walked in the company of Gauranga, Nakari Krishnadas, Damodar, Parameśvarī, the learned Brahman, Balaram, Mukunda, Vrindavan Das, etc. Oh, Vrindavan Das Thakur, cool. Shri Parameśvarī Das Thakur also accompanied Janava Mata on her trip to Vrajdam, and by her mercy witnessed the meeting of Srimati Radhika with Gopinath, and he was flooded in ecstasy. In Bhakti Ratnakar, 10th Taranga, it is stated that on Janava's order, he established the worship of Radha Gopinath deities in Antapur. Once back from Braj, Parameśvarī Das stayed for some time in Kardaha and Garalagacha village in Puri district. When Nartham Das came to Kardaha, Parameśvarī Das gave him directions to Puri. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is written that just by remembering Parameśvarī Das, one can attain love for Krishna. This is from Adi Lila chapter 11, verse 29. It says, Parameśvarī Das took exclusive shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. Whoever remembers him attains devotion to Krishna. Shri Parameśvarī Das had miraculous powers. On one occasion, he was dancing in ecstasy during Harinam Sankirtan at the house of Kamalakar Pipalai in the town of Akna Mahesh, which is situated near Serampur. Hearing the sounds of the kirtan and seeing the ecstatic dancing caused some of the local atheists to become very envious. They decided to pollute the kirtan area and teach the devotees a lesson, so they threw a dead jackal in the midst of the kirtan group. But Parameśvarī did not stop the Sankirtan for a moment. By the power of his kirtan, the jackal came back to life and participated in the kirtan. The other devotees were astonished by this display of power and were overcome by transcendental joy. This has been mentioned in the Vaishnava Vandana. There's a, like the Devaki Nandan Das, the Vaishnava Vandana that we sing, Vrindavana Vasi Jata Vaishnava Veragan. Then he also wrote another one which goes through all the associates of Mahaprabhu. So this is from that. He says, I very attentively worship Parameśvarī Das, who made a jackal come back to life during Sankirtan. In front of the temple in Antapur, there are 2 huge bakula trees and a kadamba tree. Between them is the samadhi of Parameśvarī Das, over which is a tulsi altar. It is said that bakula trees grew from the branches of the 2 trees that grew there during the time of Parameśvarī Ṭhākura. Every year, the kadamba tree produces a flower, just one flower, I guess, that is used for the worship of the deities. Parameśvarī Ṭhākura's Tirobhav, his disappearance festival, is held every year on the Vaishakhi Purnima, which is today. Okay, and now it's 8 o'clock. So if anybody needs to go now, thank you so much for joining. Dandavat pranams. I'm going to continue now to read about Śrīnivāsācārya. I'm really hoping my phone doesn't run out of battery. My charger is downstairs. Don't want to go get it now. Okay. Where is she? There is Śrīnivāsācārya. Okay. Śrīnivāsācārya was born in 1530 AD on the full moon day of the month of Vaishak, combined with Rohini Nakshatra, in the village of Chakandi, which lies just north of Agradweep in the district of Nadia. His father, Gangadhar Bhattacharya, was a Brahmin of the Rar class. The Bhakti Ratnakar describes how this came about. So it says, Gangadhar was overcome with grief when Mahaprabhu took sannyas in Katwa, and he began to cry constantly while calling out the names, Ha Caitanya, Ha Caitanya. When the other devotees saw him intoxicated in divine love for Mahaprabhu, they nicknamed him Caitanya Das, a name that stuck with him for the rest of his life. So Gangadhar became Caitanya Das. Caitanya Das was indifferent to the things of this world. But one day, he suddenly felt a strong wish to have a son, and he told this to his wife, Lakshmi Priya. She responded by telling him to go immediately to Puri to submit to Mahaprabhu. The couple left for Puri, first stopping for a few days in Jajigram at the house of Lakshmi Priya's father, Balaram Vipra. Then, when they arrived in Puri, Caitanya Das and his wife paid their obeisances to Mahaprabhu. Before they could speak, the Lord himself spoke, understanding their wish to have a son. So Mahaprabhu said, Jagannath Dev will surely fulfill all your desires. The other devotees were curious about what desire Mahaprabhu was talking about. Then Mahaprabhu called Govinda and said in a deep voice, as if from a trance state. So Mahaprabhu said, Caitanya Das desires to have a child. Indeed, his wife will soon give birth to a jewel of a son, who will be named Śrīnivās. He will be the manifest form of my love, and will increase everyone's enthusiasm for devotion. I will bring scriptures into the world through Rupa Gosvāmī and others. Through Śrīnivās, I shall distribute them. Śrīnivās is the embodiment of pure love for me. All minds will be enthused upon seeing him. So that was all from Bhakti Ratnakar's second Taranga, verses 120 to 123. Once they had received Mahaprabhu's blessing, Caitanya Das and his wife returned to their home, and when the auspicious moment came, a son was born to them. Caitanya Das immediately consecrated the child to Mahaprabhu. The baby went through the early childhood rituals of the first feeding of solid food, name-giving, tonsure, and sacred thread ceremony. I don't know what tonsure means. Let me just look up that word. Tonsure means a part of a monk's or priest's head left bare on top by shaving off the hair. Okay, so that's one of the samskars. They get the first time the hair is cut. The associates of Mahaprabhu, such as Govinda Ghosh, and residents of Srikhanda, such as Narahari and Raghunandan, they poured affectionate blessings on the child. Early education and travels. Oh, 1 second, I'm just looking at the comments. Oh, Haribol Champak Mataji. Okay. Śrīnivāsācārya was devoted to his parents. He was fortunate to hear about Mahaprabhu's divine glories, as well as Radha and Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes from Caitanya Das. Father and son would go into an ecstatic state as they discussed these transcendental topics. His mother trained, isn't it so interesting? His mother trained him in various forms of Nam Sankirtan. So he's trained by his mother in Nam Sankirtan. He studied grammar, literature, and poetic theory from Dhananjaya Vidya Vachaspati, and quickly acquired mastery of these subjects. Srinivasa's father left the world while he was still quite young. The loss of his father's association greatly affected Srinivas. But the other devotees made a concerted effort to console him and his mother in their grief. Srinivas took his mother and moved from Chakandi to his maternal grandfather's house in Jajigram, where the villagers were overjoyed to see him. Shortly after moving to Jajigram, he went to visit Narahari Sarkar in nearby Srikhanda. From Narahari Sarkar, he learnt that Mahaprabhu would shortly be ending his earthly pastimes. This news made Srinivas determined to see the Lord before it happened. He quickly returned to Jajigram and took permission from his mother to make the trip to Puri. He then joined the devotees on the annual pilgrimage. It was the 5th day of the waxing moon. Before Srinivas arrived in Puri, however, the news that Mahaprabhu had indeed ended his Leela reached the party of pilgrims. Śrīnivāsācārya fainted at hearing this report, and when he came back to consciousness, he decided to commit suicide. However, the Lord himself appeared to him in a dream and told him to complete his journey to Puri. Once in Puri, he again had a dream in which he saw Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, as well as Caitanya Mahaprabhu with his associates. In Puri, Srinivas met Srila Gadadhar Pandit Gosvāmī, the avatar of Mahaprabhu's pleasure potency, and both of them were immersed in an ocean of ecstasy. He also met Rai Ramananda, Paramananda Puri, Shiki Mahiri, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Vakeshwar Pandit, Govinda, Shankar Pandit, and Gopinathacharya, and received blessings from them all. Srinivas stayed in Puri for some time, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit Goswāmī, and was enchanted. Cool. Wow, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam directly from Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar then told him to return to Goda. While on his way to Bengal, Srinivas learnt that Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu had also wound up their earthly pastimes. Once again, he determined to end his life in their separation. But the two Prabhus appeared to him in a dream to assuage his grief and persuaded him to give up his resolve. When he arrived in Navadvip, Srinivas was once again plunged in an ocean of despondency at the loss of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Vangshi Vadan Thakur saw him in this condition, and he approached Vishnupriya Devi and asked her to grant Srinivas an audience and to bless him. Śrīnivāsācārya was amazed to see Srimati Vishnupriya Devi's deep faith in Mahaprabhu's worship and her intense renunciation. While in Navadvip, he had a dream of Shashri Devi and received blessings from her too. Srinivas then wandered throughout Bengal, going to all the Shripats of the associates of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, seeking their blessings. In this way, he visited Shantipur, Kardaha, Kanakul Krishnanagar, and Srikhanda. Among the Parshads he met were Murari Gupta, Srinivas Pandit, Damodar Pandit, Shuklambar Brahmachari, Gadadhar Das, Parameśvarī Das, Janava Devi, Vasudha Devi, Virabhadra, Abhiram Thakur, Narahari Sarkar Thakur, and Raghunandan Thakur. Wow. All these great personalities witnessed Srinivasa's intense devotion and told him to go to Vrindavan. Srinivas then went to his mother and repeatedly asked her for permission to make the trip. His mother could not refuse when she saw his eagerness. And now Srinivas arrives in Vraj. Srinivas then traveled through Agradweep, Katwa, Moreshwar, and Ekachakra, and then went to Kashi, Ayodhya, and Prayag. He spent a long time visiting all these holy places before he finally arrived in Vraj. There he learnt that Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Kashishwar Pandit, and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami had all disappeared. Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Jiva Goswami were still living, however. Srinivas met all three of them and received their blessings. He was initiated by Gopal Bhatta Goswami and took instruction in the Vaishnava scriptures from Jiva Goswami. In great affection for Srinivas, Jiva Goswami commended him to his deities, Radha Damodar. Then Srinivas met Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Radhakund and received their blessings. One day, Sri Jiva Goswami heard Srinivas explain a verse from Ujjvala Nilamani, and he was so impressed by his erudition that he bestowed the title Acharya upon him. Jiva Goswami also gave the titles Ṭhākura to Narottam and Shyamananda to Dukhi Krishnadas. Jiva Goswami ordered Śrīnivāsācārya Prabhu to tour all of Vraj's pilgrimage sites with Raghav Goswami. The return to Bengal. Sri Jiva Goswami and the other Vaishnavas in Vraj ordered Śrīnivāsācārya, Narottam Thakur, and Shyamananda Prabhu to take manuscripts of the invaluable Goswami's literature to Bengal on an ox cart. They placed them in a chest that was offered to them by a rich merchant in Mathura. In that ox cart, they went back to Bengal. Sorry guys, I'm starting to get a little bit spacey. So they placed them in a chest that was offered to them by a rich merchant in Mathura, back to Bengal in an ox cart. Hare Krishna, Hare no, it's going now. No problem. Oh, do you need a key to the room? Do you need a key to the room? Okay. Okay. If it's not there, I might have it. Which room? Which room number?
No, my room.
Oh, okay, sorry. They placed them in a chest that was off. Okay, sorry. So they set off on the Shukla Panchami of the Agrahayan month. It was a long and dangerous trip, but they were able to cover the greater part of the distance without any trouble. Upon arriving in the Hindu kingdom of Ban Vishnupur, they felt that the danger was over. However, the rumor had reached the capital of Vishnupur that a rich merchant was traveling to Puri with a valuable cargo of merchandise. Virahamvir, the ruler of Ban Vishnupur, was also the leader of a gang of highwaymen. When he heard that a cargo of great value was passing through his territory, he asked an astrologer to confirm the truth of the rumors. The astrologer confirms that the chest being carried on the ox cart was indeed of great value. The king immediately sent a group of robbers to steal the chest, thinking that it contained gold and jewels. He specified to the robbers that they should thank God for this. He specified to the robbers that they should kill nobody. They shouldn't kill anybody in this. The robbers first worshipped the goddess Chandi, then sent out a spy who returned to tell them that everyone in the group accompanying the ox cart was sleeping in exhaustion after eating their evening meal. The robbers felt that Chandi had mercifully given them a golden opportunity to make the raid. They stole the chest of books and turned them over to the king of Vishnupur. When Virahamvir saw the large chest, he was delighted at the prospect of finding large booty inside. How disappointed he must have been to see nothing but books. He turned to the astrologer and asked him how the astrologer could have made such a mistake. The astrologer answered, "I cannot understand it. Every time I made my calculations, I came up with the same conclusion. This chest is full of priceless jewels. It is incredible. I don't know why my calculations have gone wrong." The mere sight of the holy books had a purifying effect on the king, however, and he regretted having stolen them. Indeed, he desired to meet with the acharya who owns them. That night he had a dream in which this acharya appeared to him, and this pacified him somewhat. The next morning, Śrīnivāsācārya, Narottam Thakur, and Shyamananda Prabhu awoke to find the chest of books missing. They searched everywhere, but when they failed to find any clue of the book's whereabouts, they felt so depressed that they considered killing themselves. Some local villages saw the distressed condition of the three Vaishnavas and immediately suspected the robber king Virahambir and rebuked him. Śrīnivāsācārya made some farther inquiries and assured that he would be able to find more information from the king himself. The Vaishnavas felt some hope and abandoned their suicidal intentions. Śrīnivāsācārya decided to remain in Vishnupur in the hope that he would be able to recover the manuscripts. But he sent Narottam Das Thakur to Keturi and Shyamananda Prabhu to Odisha. The conversion of Virahambir. While staying in Vishnupur, Śrīnivāsācārya heard from a Brahmin named Krishna Ballabha that Virahambir liked to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam and daily attended its recital. One day, Śrīnivāsācārya went with this Brahmin to the place where the Bhagavat was recited. The Brahmin introduced Śrīnivāsācārya to the king as a great Vaishnav. So the Brahmin introduced Śrīnivāsācārya to the king as a great Vaishnav, and the king indeed observed the characteristics of a great person in him and was attracted to him. The king expressed a desire to hear Śrīnivāsācārya speak on the Bhagavat, and Śrīnivāsācārya agreed, thinking that this might be a good opportunity to recover the books. So he started to speak the Bhagavat on a daily basis. The king was enchanted by Śrīnivāsācārya's unprecedented explanations of the Bhagavat and his sweet voice. Śrīnivāsācārya preached Mahaprabhu's teachings, both through speaking on the Bhagavat and by kirtan, while Narottam Thakur and Shyamananda Prabhu primarily used the medium of kirtan. Interesting. Each of them had his own particular style of singing kirtan, by which they intoxicated their listeners with devotional ecstasy. The styles of these three acharyas, used respectively, were named Manohara Sahi. Is that Śrīnivāsācārya? Yeah, I think so, yeah. Śrīnivāsācārya is Manohara Sahi, then Narottam Das Thakur is Garan Hati, and then Shyamananda must be Renati. And remember we read before that Śrīnivāsācārya learned different styles of kirtan from his mother. So I wonder how much his mother's influence, like her influence was in Manohara Shahi style. Virahambir arranged for a secluded dwelling to be given to Śrīnivāsācārya. One day, when he had the opportunity to find the king alone in his apartments, Śrīnivāsācārya recounted the entire story of his journey from Braj and the theft of the manuscripts. The king immediately confessed, showing great sorrow for his misdeed, and had the chest of books returned to him. Greatly relieved, Śrīnivāsācārya immediately sent messengers to Vrindavan. And then Narottam and Shyamananda Prabhu he sent messengers to Vrindavan, and Narottam Thakur and Shyamananda Prabhu with the good news. In the course of time, Virahambir and his entire entourage, they all took initiation from Śrīnivāsācārya and dedicated their entire lives and wealth to him. At initiation, Virahambir was given the name Caitanya Das, the same name as his father. Śrīnivāsācārya's marriage. After staying in Vishnupur for some time, Śrīnivāsācārya returned to his maternal grandfather's house in Jajigram. Then he set off on another tour of Katwa, Navadvip, and other towns in Bengal. Śrīnivāsācārya respected Narahari Sarkar of Shrikhanda greatly, and he was also very devoted to his saintly mother. When Narahari Sarkar heard Śrīnivāsācārya's mother express her desire to see her son married, he gave him the orders to do so. Even prior to receiving this order, Śrīnivāsācārya had received the same command from Advaita Acharya in a dream. Though he felt somewhat ashamed, he realized that he could not ignore the wishes of Advaita Prabhu, Narahari Sarkar, and his mother. He thus agreed to get married and was wed to Ishwari, the devoted daughter of Gopal Chakravarti of Jajigram. It is not always easy to understand the divine activities of Mahaprabhu's devotees. Only someone who is totally surrendered to the Lord and his devotees can comprehend their glories. Śrīnivāsācārya's preaching activities. Śrīnivāsācārya started to teach the Goswami's books to his disciples in Jajigram. One of his most important disciples was Ramachandra Kaviraj, the son of Shrikhanda resident Chiranjeev Sen. Shri Jiva Goswami Prabhu gave Ramachandra the title Kaviraj after hearing his poems. Narottam Thakur had a close friendship with Ramachandra Kaviraj, and even wrote about it in one of his songs. Narottam, that song, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More, the last verses. Doya Koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Śrīnivāsa Ramachandra Sangha Marge Narottama Dasa. It says, "O my master, O Śrīnivāsācārya, please be merciful to me. I, Narottam Das, beg you to give me the association of Ramachandra." When Shuklambar Brahmachari, Gadadhar Das, Narahari Sarkar, and Dvija Haridasacharya all ended their earthly activities, Śrīnivāsācārya was once again overcome by grief and made another trip to Vrindavan. Ramachandra Kaviraj and Shyamananda Prabhu also joined Śrīnivāsācārya and Vraj on this occasion. Śrīnivāsācārya met with Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Shri Jiva Goswami, as well as with Bhugarbha Goswami and Lokanath Goswami, and these great devotees encouraged him and diminished his feelings of loss. When he returned to Gauda, Śrīnivāsācārya joined in the festivities occasioning the departure of Gadadhar Das and Katwa, Narahari Sarkar and Shrikhanda, and Dvija Haridasacharya and Kanchan Gauriya. From there, he went to Budhari village, where Ramachandra Kaviraj and Govinda Kaviraj hosted him in great opulence. Narottam Das Thakur had also left Vrindavan on Lokanath Goswami's orders, returning to Keturi. On the full moon day of Falgun, he established the worship of 6 sets of deities in the temple there: Shri Gauranga, Shri Vallabhi Kanta, Shri Vraj Mohan, Shri Krishna, Shri Radha Kanta, and Shri Radha Raman. Śrīnivāsācārya performed the installation ceremony and the first puja. Janava Devi was also present at this great event. After the festival, she went on to Vraj with her entourage. Upon her return, she met with Śrīnivāsācārya at Katwa, and then went with him to Jajigram, where she spent some time as his guest. Śrīnivāsācārya made another trip to Navadvip with Narottam Thakur and Ramachandra Kaviraj, performing the parikrama of the 9 islands, each of which represents one of the limbs of devotional service. We're almost at the end. There's 1 minute left in the chapter. So, when Raghunandan Thakur entered Nitya Lila, the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, then Śrīnivāsācārya went to Shrikhanda and participated in the Disappearance festival. He returned with a heavy heart to Jajigram, and from there he went to Ban Vishnupur. The king and the other residents of the town were excited by his visit and received him with great pomp. In Vishnupur, Śrīnivāsācārya received an order from Mahaprabhu in a dream to accept the hand of Gauranga Priya, the daughter of a certain Raghav Chakravarti. Okay, so there's Ishwari and Gauranga Priya, his two wives. Raghav Chakravarti and his wife Madhavi had been searching for a suitable husband for their daughter. They had simultaneously received the order to give their daughter in marriage to Śrīnivāsācārya in a dream. Śrīnivāsācārya thus married for the second time. Pure devotees have no objective in life other than to fulfill the desires of the Supreme Lord. They are thus ready to do anything if it pleases the Lord. None of their activities has the slightest hint of material desire in it. Śrīnivāsācārya is the Shaktavishta avatar of Mahaprabhu, and only a person who has received his special blessings can describe his transcendental activities. Jai Śrīnivāsācārya ki jai. All right, so that is our program for today. Tomorrow we will continue. Reading from Shikshashtakam. We'll read some more explanations on the first verse of Shikshashtakam from my Srila Gurudev. But yeah, all right. Thanks for staying all the way to the end. I went way longer than usual today. I'll just do a short Mahamantra and end for today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Jai Swapasha Ji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Shri Radhakund and Shamakund, which is just a 7-minute walk away from me. Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radhakund Shamakund Ki Jai. Jai Shri Mādhavendra Purī Ki Jai. Jai Tatiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Śrīnivāsācārya Ki Jai. Tatiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Parameśvarī Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirubhav Titi Ki Jai, Shri Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha, Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams, Chatamai Mataji and Nri Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji, Gargarajji, Champak Mataji, and nobody else wrote any comments, so I don't know who's there. I see there's 11 people on YouTube and Facebook, and Hari Bol, Chatamai Mataji, Hari Bol. And I'm guessing Indira Mataji is there, Seshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, and I don't know, Rohini Nandan Prabhu. And also pronounce to all devotees watching in the future, Shachi Devi and Joshua Davis, Jai Dev Prabhu, Dandavat Pranamas. All right, so I'll see you all tomorrow to read about, what is it? First verse of Shikshashtakam. Sorry, I'm so out of it right now. All right, Haribo.